This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. What's going on? Welcome to episode 145 of X&C. Welcome to the show. I will be your host today, and in the stead, what do you call it?
I await in the stables for when Mag is away.
Yes,
I'm the steed.
Mag is out of town, so you are in his steed, in his stable.
Yes,
steed.
Thank you.
This is my good friend Red Wolf from Red Wolf Renegade of the Renegade Podcast. We play games together. We hang out and we get on the phone and twirl our hair and talk. But it's good to have you here. Well, let me give you a proper intro.
My beard.
Twirl our beard.
Please.
I'm going to give you a proper intro. Red Wolf is a very small content creator. He's a close to 500 subs, about 500.
553 as of today. Thanks a lot, J-Rock. No, I'm just kidding.
Not that you're counting. 553 subs. Great content creator. Covers a lot of Mass Effect, a lot of stuff that has to do with Bethesda RPGs, building games, stuff, survival games, and a great way to stay in shape. So
it's a great way. Yeah, baby. Yeah, just mining away every day, but with my thumb.
Right.
Tink. Yeah. That's how we do it. Yeah.
It's really good to have you here. Now. Some people may know you, Red, but I had you on a special podcast I did after Starfield had kind of settled in for everybody, you and I and Lone Volt Wanderer, which is really cool. Yeah,
that was so cool. Legendary moment. That guy is so nice. He's like too nice. He's like, it's like scary how nice he is. And he was a lawyer too. There's a lot about that guy that scares me, but in a good way.
And he's worked with Bethesda and ZeniMax in some capacity, like
right.
As a kind of a developer, like way better than what we could do, but he's also
because I remember for a while he wasn't even able to do his channel, his content, because he worked with Bethesda. So he was essentially like an insider. So he just couldn't say anything. So he's just like, well,
he's like,
it's done. It's over.
Look through here.
Todd's text. So whoa, that's the other night. That's from Hot
Todd
Tub
sent
Day
me
with
a
Todd.
Snapchat. I'll read it. Yeah. I don't know. We're kind of in like Bethesda mode, like in perpetuity, right? So we've been talking a lot about. We're going to talk about the show, and it's important to know that we will talk about Fallout 4. It's a TV show because you're barely halfway in. We will only talk about it at very surface level. I won't even name anything in the show, but we just kind of want to give you guys an idea of what we feel about it, because I know some of you are also a couple episodes in, or maybe you just finished it, but everyone deserves to take this game on at full force. And we'll talk about that as well. Before we do, Red, what have you been playing? Let people know what you do as a gaming fan. What have you been playing?
I play games. No, I've been playing a lot of Dragon's Dogma. And then I played this stupid, awful, terrible, sickening game called Agony. And it actually got me banned for an entire week because I took a screenshot of this demon thing coming at me. And when it killed me, I didn't realize. I was like, oh, it has boobies. And, I took a 15-second clip of me getting killed, and I was like, somebody didn't like that. It was probably Special Nick, because it was technically a cutscene, and he doesn't like those. But anyway, I went back, and I angrily beat it in like 4 hours.
The game.
Whatever day it was. I beat it. Yeah, and I was like, get out of here. But then I started playing Dragon's Dogma again, and I also accidentally beat it twice last night. Okay, and that's all that I'll say because I don't want to spoil anything. But now I'm playing it still, but I accidentally beat it twice. So be careful, folks, what you do out there when you're playing Dragon's Dogma. You might accidentally beat the game, and I'm not kidding. I went on Reddit today, and it was like another Me Too movement, except with dragons. Everyone was feeling the abruptness. But anyway, that's really all that I've been
told
into.
me that he rolled the credits on it, and he was like, "There's more to do," but he was kind of like, once he rolled the credits, I get the same feeling. Like sometimes I'm just like, when I see the credits, I'm all completely done. I'm ready to move on, but I still need to finish it.
Right. Yeah, you're kind of like, and I'm like role playing on my head. I'm like, it was just a dream. My character woke up, and he's like, "What was that about?" Wee. And then I try to just erase it out of my memory. But I also did boot up Fallout 4 and my modded save. Ooh.
Yes.
So I jumped into that, and my modded save is like a lot of stalker mods. So your Pip-Boy isn't a Pip-Boy. You pull up like this little PDA in front of you, and you're sort of like
tablet thing.
Yeah, little tablet thing with all the sound effects, and it's very realistic. So I'm on survival mode. I die in like 2 hits. Everyone else dies in 2 hits, and it's a great way to stay in shape.
I got to tell you my experience, and I got to give a huge shout out to Lotus Esprit. They're hanging out in the chat and gave a really super nice, I'm going to call that hot pink, $50 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It's great to see Lotus around in your podcast, Renegade Realm, and also checking out Fonz's Games Talk Live. And this community is amazing. I want to also give a shout out to Udana Kizada and Happy Bomb, who are keeping the chat. And check out my friend Nick Marseille, who's in the chat. He says, "What exactly put PlayStation in trouble?" We'll get to it. Yeah, it's been cool to talk to Nick off and on and see him on the podcast as well. Yeah, we'll get into PlayStation's trouble and some of Xbox's trouble. But all in all, mostly everything's been pretty good for the games industry as we kind of got away from some of the layoffs have slowed down. So people kind of been able to take a breath, because when these people lose their jobs, you're like, these people are making the games we want to play. So we are hoping the best for everybody. I got to say, when you said the survival thing, I got the ROG Ally a couple weeks ago, and I loaded Fallout 4 on there. My PC save, I have like a level 55 character. I didn't realize, Brett, I have like 500 plus hours on Steam and Xbox console for Fallout 4. And I still, after wrapping the show, I'm like, install.
Yeah. Or for both. So, or between the two, you have 500.
Between the two, yeah, 500. Yeah. Did you say individually?
Wow,
no, 500 between both playthroughs, at least. I think I said I had like 230 hours on Steam, and I'm like, that's a lot. So anyway, I did a full survival thing, which I didn't realize ramps up the difficulty to like the highest. And I'm trying to get into Concord in the opening part to meet with Preston Garvey, and I'm like, boom. And my character kind of looks like me, and he goes, just
right, just in slow motion.
Yeah, I'm like at 90% health, and I'm like getting around. I'm getting ready to hit, like I use VATS like crazy in this mode because it's so dangerous. Right. I'm getting ready to hit VATS, and dead. And then I'm all the way back to Red Rocket, where I woke up from a mattress. So yeah, what a great game.
You got the bad guy that killed you going, woohoo! Yeah, guys, I think I got him. Just like that, the Bethesda, the old Bethesda animated. Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Lotus Esprit, thank you so much for gifting 5 channel memberships. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that. Hey, if you're new to the channel membership, thanks to one of my good friends talked me into making some more emojis. So I got a new emoji set for people who are channel members. I got, did you try the lasagna? And do you like hot fudge sundaes? And I also did this Fallout guy. Hold on, I'm going to send him right now. There we go. Yeah, so I've got those in the, if you're a channel member, you can put up the picture of the lasagna, the hot fudge sundae, and the Fallout dude, because we're all in Fallout mode. So thank you so much for doing that. Hey, Red, is it okay if I want to list off the channel members and veterans before we get into start talking about the topics? That's a pretty important.
Please.
You got crack your knuckles and take a break.
Crack my knuckles, clear my throat. The whole entire time while you're trying to read. Yep.
Yeah.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Did you play as Cassandra or Alexios? La 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 la. Yeah, we love that.
I did. Alexios was me. I just walked around going, but I need to find my sister. La, 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 la. That was the whole game as Alexios.
Just with the metal skirt on and nothing else. We
just the metal gold cup. Just that's all. That's it.
And a goat's
Alexios. eye. La, la, la. And a goat's eye. Where'd he get that?
I want to give a shout out to KY, Bob, Assassin, Lupa, Jazzy New Box, Hargy, Chani, Jason Lewan, Lord Senator, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Simic, Nelson Bernal, Vigil, Kings 5050, Happy Bomb, Dexatron, Tricks for Trey, Armin LaRoche, Matt Burns, Udani Kazada, Robert Jackson, Dante Moody, Betamax, Septic Sauce, Ricky Fallon, Zenner White, V Simcoe, Assassin Dub, Raiden Blade, Risk It for the Biscuit, True 77, Micah Ford, Penhead Pineapple Pin, Trell Roberts, Meat Puppet, Red Wolf. Yeah, right over there. We got Jedi J Goalie, Rippin, Highlander, Techno Caveman, Fire 71, That Blue Number, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Shooter, Tex Made, VMAC, B Martin, Sith Lord, Good Old Collingwood, Dead Time, KJ Wars. Shout out to Sith Lord for messaging me like every week about the show. Darkwave, Mormon Lord, Star Killer, Kings, Justin Duell, Biff Rinaldi, and Diz Guy. Hey, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but Lord Star Killer said he's going to take a break because of doom and gloom. I think everything's been much better now. Everything's kind of calmed down. Thankfully.
It's fine.
It's fine. I was going to, before we get into topics, I didn't update. I'm sorry. I didn't have time to get everything ready for the show. So the ticker tape at the bottom does not reflect the things we're going to talk about. Maybe I'll change those as we get into the show, like on the fly. But I wanted to talk to Red and you guys about the other night. I went to a concert, and I haven't been to one in like 5 years because of, COVID stuff and crap. And we went and saw Third Eye Blind. Now, I know it's probably like, oh gosh, Third Eye Blind, but back in 98, they were probably my favorite band like that year. And we saw them back in 98. And I really liked them. And when I went there, I was with my wife and my brother. And my brother, we were looking for our seat. My brother goes, hey, somebody called you Colteastwood when we were going up the bleachers and you ignored him. I'm like, what? I didn't hear that. And he goes, yeah, he called you by name. And I thought you were just ignoring him because you thought he was a fan. I go, I don't tell him. My brother's like the same age as me pretty much. I said, I don't really have fans. There's probably a guy from high school. He goes, no, I didn't recognize him. So I went back there. It was a guy that watches the show and his name's Generation 5. And he, wanted a picture with me, which I thought was super cool. He was there with his wife and he was like, oh, we thought it was you. And he's like, do the face. And I was like, no, he didn't say that. But.
And he goes, yep.
I went,
here's my chance. You're like, oh, tastes like lasagna.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I was telling Red on the phone, I'm like, so cool. And the concert was really great, flooded back memories. And Red was like, who's Third Eye Blind? And he looks up their song, Semi-Charmed Life, doot, 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 doot. And then you were making fun of the singer. I don't know if you guys know what he's talking about. Like, how did you think, how'd you think he sounds?
Sorry.
Yeah, he's like, I'm packed in, I'm holding, I'm smiling, she's living, she's golden, she lives for me, says she lives for me, ovation. And then what were you doing?
I said you live for me, ovation. Yeah. Wish you would step back from. I don't know if it's the same bit, but it pretty much is.
Why you want to give me to run around, princess? You want to buy me flowers? You were doing that thing on the phone. I was like, that's not the same band.
If you want to call me a baby, just go ahead now.
And then you're like, crawl out from the fallout, baby.
Oh my God. Back to my flipping arms. Oh God, that song is the absolute worst Fallout song in. Well, don't you crawl out to the I'm going to make everyone in chat leave. They're going to be like, this is
literally, it's like one of those songs that he just refrains the chorus on, and then it does a key change up. And keeps going. I'm like, okay, already. And I grab the Pit Boy, and I'm like,
I heard you. You're just smashing your Pit Boy like the ground.
From the fallout back to me.
And I'm just like,
back in my freaking arms.
So aggressive. I'm like, well, it was the 50s or something. Or no, you said that it was the 60s? No, 70s, right?
No. It was like
when that came out.
It might have been 62 or something. I looked up the year, but I thought it was like a novelty song that someone recorded for the soundtrack. Like, we need more songs for Fallout 4. So can you make one up that sounds like it came from that era? And
right.
We looked it up. We were on the phone. For all you Fallout fans out there, the guy who did the song wrote and sang the Mr. Ed theme. Now, you only know Mr. Ed if you're like born in the 80s and you watch Nick at Night or whatever. Nick, Nickelodeon. No. So we were on the phone like, oh my gosh, this guy's actually famous and I hate him. So.
And I hate him, right. Yeah.
Abdel's like,
and you're
Atom
like,
Bomb, baby.
And,
what?
Yeah, and I was like, well, that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not what I said.
Dante in the chat, Spriggan's like, we're 10 minutes in and 20 minutes in and we're already off the rails. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
We are in a good mood. Like, Fallout is like, that's some good stuff right now with Fallout.
It's so feel good. Like, when I'm watching it, it's like that homey vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not like when you're with your homies, because that could go either way. But, you know, like homey, like that home feeling, like very comforting vibe, even though it's very violent. But, you know, you grow up with something and you sort of jump back into the universe with, you know, a TV show or a book or a game or whatever. And it feels great. And it's a great way to stay in shape.
How far into the show are you? I'm going to ask
I am on episode 4, so I'm only, 2 away? 2 away?
8 episodes, so you're halfway in.
Halfway? Okay, yeah. And it's, are we talking about that now, or?
Yeah, it's like, hey, how do we do a podcast? Yeah, we just get right into it.
How do we talk?
Since we won't talk about any specifics, I won't even name any characters, just really, because everyone deserves to just go into it not knowing other than it's a Fallout game, but so many things that we love, right, Red? Even if it's Star Wars, does like their own take on their own thing. And I really feel like Todd and the team were like, okay, here's the assets for Fallout 4, and here's the lore, and don't change it, right? Everything looks amazing.
There's so much in. It's funny because like even Jonathan Nolan, he said, we're not making this for the fans. Remember that? And everyone lost their minds, and people were like, what do you mean? And then there is so much fan service in this. I'm like, what were you talking about? And this, you know, him being the director, this might have just been a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. So people who know the shows, like producers and stuff, were like, let's put in this thing here and this thing here, like little nods to the lore. Like in the very first episode, there are tons of references, just audio references, just things happening. I don't want to spoil anything at all, but you're like, the whole time I'm like, I can't shut up in my own head. There's like, oh, that's from this, that's from that, that's from this. And aesthetically, it's like you said, it's like Todd was just like, gave them a bunch of props and said, here's all your toys, go play with them. This is what the world looks like. And they've been really respectful from what I've seen with everything. And the good thing about this show in comparison to other video game adaptations is that there are no legacy characters that I know of in this show. So there might be references,
sure,
but you don't have a Joel. Like, they're not doing Joel right, and they're not doing Ellie right, or they're not gonna do, like Marcus Phoenix. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But that kind of stuff where there's no specific like Geralt. Like, there's no specific one character tied, so they're not gonna get them wrong. The world is sort of the main character in this TV show.
Yes.
And it's just, they do it so well. Yeah.
And I know I know a lot of people said in the chat that they're a couple episodes in or halfway in. Some are finished, right? So you can at least say, we're going to pretend like we've only seen the trailer when we talk about it. Like, when you see the vault, the way the vault looks like, I can't help it. I'm watching the show and I say out loud, like, oh my gosh, the vault looks exactly like it does in the game in Fallout 4. I've been in so many vaults, and you're right. It's like Todd said, look, here's the 3D assets from the game. Don't screw it up. Just make this. And if you wanted fan service, you get it at every turn, I feel like, in this show.
Every single Yep, exactly. Yeah. And I think you mentioned this too, like they're not trying to take any creative liberties, like what if we did it this way, but like we shape it this way, or like here's the way that this thing sounds, but what if we make it sound not like that? It's like everything is literally there. Pick it up,
Those little
lick it,
sounds.
kiss it, touch it, it's yours. You play with
Todd's
it.
like,
It's great.
Todd goes, see that Pit Boy? You can lick it.
You can lick it. Exactly. Because everyone's just, it's what we're supposed to do, right?
Like,
Take it
if they turn on the Pit Boy light so they can see in the dark, it does the sound. So, yeah, I mean, you're just in for a treat when you watch the show. I talked to somebody at work today, saw my shirt. Welcome to Vault 33.
Nice. That's awesome.
So they just started selling these shirts like a week ago, and so I already got one. And this lady at work goes, did you watch the show? And I go, yeah, I got the show, watched the show and got the shirt. And she goes, and she was older, like 10 years older than me. She's like, I don't know, I didn't like it. I was like, but I haven't played the games. And I was like, oh man, because it seems like everybody is loving it, and like not everyone's played the game, right?
Right. And not a lot of people know that it's a video game adaptation, which speaks to how it's, how good it is so far. I know Sick Mechanico from Xbox Zero, shout out. They were talking on their show about how they were getting into arguments, not arguments. Someone was being maybe a little hot-headed about the show and said they were talking about how they didn't like it, or they wanted to like it or whatever, and then once they found out that it was an adaptation of a video game, they were like, oh, that's why it sucks. It's like, if you had never known about that, you wouldn't have even. People are they're just great. Yeah, love it. Just love it. So anyway, I'm glad.
I just love that for them. Yeah,
I love that for them. Exactly. Yeah, and this is from the same production team that did The Boys. So if anybody knows The Boys, this is like the perfect marriage of creativity and execution for that team, because it works with the humor and the violence. They nail it. Like it's so good. It's so good. Because you're like, oh my God, but then it's playing the 50s classic Fallout music while something really violent is happening, and you're just like, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and the trailer had like the classic Ink Spot song when the big trailer dropped and everyone like started crying when all the fans.
Yes.
And then they just throw those songs in all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that one's from 3, that one's from 4. And that's kind of like, I'll save those treats for you as you guys play the game. I guess I should have done a poll because I haven't been able to watch the chat the whole time, but I kind of updated the ticker. So most of the things we'll talk about are on the bottom so you can follow along. So one of the great things about the show is it's boosting Fallout games that I really feel like a year ago, people said all of these games suck except for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. But it's starting to be a little bit different. People are really, well, of course, people are like, I got to play Fallout 4. I got to get Fallout 4 and play it. Sales are up, engagement's up, it's breaking records, but one of our favorites, Fallout 76, has broken records on Steam and is probably breaking records on PlayStation and Xbox as well. How does that make you feel, since you helped bring me back into the 76 fold in your hometown?
I did. Right back to where, right to my house. Back to my flipping arms. Yeah, it makes me feel really good, because people like to compare these big comeback stories to, like, No Man's Sky and whatever you want to compare it to. I wouldn't say that Cyberpunk. Thank you. That was the one on the tip of my nose. Nose? Sure.
Tip of my dula oblongata.
Oh God, Adam, is that you? This, I mean, Fallout 76.
Freaking arms. Sorry.
I'm trying to behave. Oh man, Dova, I saw what you said there. There we go. I saw.
Now we're back to normal.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, so Fallout 76, a lot of people like sort of scoff at it, whenever, especially if they haven't got into it for a long time. But you'd be surprised, like it's crazy to me. I can't imagine being a developer and seeing so much like hate and like you just put your nose to the grindstone and just make the game good over years, and then you look back and say, "Wow, that kind of sucked, didn't it? Look at us now." So hopefully the people that are jumping into Fallout now because of the excitement from the TV show, hopefully they're seeing that Fallout 76 is awesome. I mean, it's really, really good. They've added NPCs into the game. Like that was like the number one thing that everyone was like not okay with.
I don't want to talk to a printer. Which
yeah, but like I don't want to. Right, the whole time talking to Daisy or whatever it was. And so they have added a lot of sort of mix a lot of the NPCs with the quests that were there before, just to make it feel like more like Fallout. Because the idea was you came out of the vault, there's not going to be any people except it's the players that are people, and people were like, I don't care. Like that sucks. You know, some people felt that way.
I felt like all you did, as a testimony to how great the game is now, I hated it for years. And one of the things you always fought were the scorched ghouls, and that and the little what's the word? Communism robots, the little commie robots. That are like this big. Like I felt like that's all you fought.
The little like Red Bull cans running around shooting at you.
The little little Red Bull cans with legs. Yeah, and I felt like that's all you fought. And funny enough, even the game, you would shoot an enemy, and there was like a 1 second latency before you heard the ching, and they would fall over. And I thought, what's going on here? Like it's got to fly all the way to the servers in Maryland or Texas or whatever just to kill an NPC. Shout out to Dante and that blue number, Spriggan and that blue number in the chat, who also took the time, played the game with me. Dante spent painstaking hours standing with me in his camp, showing me what gear you need and how all the gear works. Dante's famous words, we got to go look for more desk fans so we can get some screws.
Exactly. Yep. Classic.
Or Dante running to the fire station to steal all of the weightlifting weights so he can make more ammo. But
to get steel and lead and whatnot. Yeah.
Dante says, I turned the hate around, Colt. You absolutely did. And playing the game with you guys is incredible. I want to know, chat, have you guys picked this up, or did you always think it was okay? Because man, did I not like it for the first 2 or 3 years. So
yeah, it was something. I mean, I played it. I was like my first and only ever NDA where they were like, you can't talk about this online, to play it early, and which I could have played even earlier because, you know, I live where the game takes place actually. So the event was happening. Oh, I don't want to dox myself, but very close to me. So I could have literally went up there and met. Todd Howard wasn't there apparently. Pete Hines was there. God rest his soul. He's not dead. I'm just kidding. But
he was just at the Elder Scrolls Online event 2 weeks ago too, and I didn't even get a chance to talk to him. But yeah, rest his Bethesda lifetime of achievements. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, but yeah, it's so I hold it a little close to my heart because I see places that I know, but it's been Falloutified. And it's just so cool, man. It's so cool. But so yeah, people just give it a shot. It's on Game Pass, right? It has to be.
Yeah. It's on Game Pass and Game Pass PC. There's no cross save. And of course, you know, like 3 weeks ago, we played with Phil, Dante, and Holly and I, and we were showing the noob how it's done in the wasteland and the Appalachia. You know, it's so funny. He didn't. His camp was like a camping stove and like a bag or something. I was like, oh, Phil, come on. And then you go to Holly's place. It's just ornately decorated with bubble machines. And Dante's got the butterfly mausoleum.
That sounds like Holly. Yeah. Everything's just blue. Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da.
Yeah, everything's just so amazing for those guys. They got their cool places. And it's such a cool game. It's good to see people coming back. And it also makes us question, Red, what could happen with a TV show when you, like, Xbox is like, we want to get our games. We want to get some games on PlayStation. We want everything on PC. We want to be on every screen as long as you're in the ecosystem. Like, that's their main thing. We want to be everywhere you can play games as long as you buy it from us and you're playing on Xbox Live or on the network and you're using an Xbox account. You know, like, that's the ideal situation. And when you're doing that and it's not enough, which is another thing we're going to talk about, how sometimes buying games is not enough. The Fallout TV show has rocket propelled, rest in peace to the ghouls at Retcon in Fallout New Vegas. It has propelled the series to, like you said, people who don't even realize it's a game, and they will soon like become a true believer. Smooth skin.
Right, and nice. Yeah, and the thing is, like, this same thing happened with The Witcher, and it happened recently with Halo. Even as much as that show got hate for it, for whatever reason, maybe butt cheeks, I don't know, but it definitely raised every time, like, because you watch it and you're like, now I want to. And the people that, same thing with The Witcher. A lot of people bought The Witcher, didn't know that it was a game, and then they jumped straight into The Witcher 3, because sales were up too. I don't know if you remember this, but the peak concurrent players for The Witcher and for Cyberpunk remember Cyberpunk show? I don't know if you ever watched it. Edge Runners. It had the same exact effect. People were just, Cyberpunk just shoop right to the top, and then same thing with Witcher, straight to the top. Everyone playing it all at the same time, like hundreds of thousands of people. It was crazy. So it's good to see that there is some interest, at least. Like, if people weren't feeling the show, they were watching it and thought maybe, I don't like this. It makes me want to play the good version of Fallout that I know, which is this game, Vegas or 3 or 4. But then if they love it, it's still gonna have that effect. So it looks like video game adaptations. You can't lose.
You can't lose because someone's like, I really want to try Fallout 76 now. Some people are like, my favorite one's Fallout 3, so I'm going to do a brand new playthrough. You got Oh No, It's Alex, our good friend, who's like, the only good Fallouts are Fallout 1 and 2, the point and click adventure. He's loving those. He's gone back and played those. Our buddy Infinite Umbra bought the whole series for $27 on his PC. 27 buckaroos. Wow. So
wowzers.
That's kind of cool that, like, if you really like The Last of Us and you watch the first season, you're like, I'll go buy The Last of Us. And then it's over. Like, Bethesda and Xbox have all these games they can get people, even like Tactics, which I don't know if many people like that. But
I played it. It was like 17 years ago, but I played it. I tried.
It was like a turn-based game or something.
Yeah, it's like the Wasteland game. That's
okay.
kind of why Interplay went and did their own version of their Fallout game, because they sold the rights to Bethesda, and then Bethesda said, the creation engine, Oblivion, Fallout 3, baby. Yeah. And they sort of brought it to the modern audience, and then Interplay went and did their own thing. That was Brian Fargo. But yeah, it's just like that. It's except old. But they're great. They're great games. A lot of skill checks and stuff like that.
I'm a late comer to Fallout because I didn't get into Fallout till 2010. And my brother-in-law, who is closer to your age, he was really into gaming. He's like, I go to Blockbuster the other day to rent a game for my Xbox 360. And he goes, I'm looking at the games, and he says, like, this younger kid, like, comes up and just pushes me out of the way. He's like, oh my gosh. And he's holding up Fallout 3. And he's like, it's here. And he goes to rent it. And my brother-in-law's like, what a nerd. I'm like, Fallout 3? And I remember seeing on IGN, like, the trailers, and the gun is like all stilted the way, like, the game just looked dated in 08
right.
to me. But people were nuts about it. I'm like, I don't see it. But when I saw that trailer, I've got spurs that jingle, jingle, jingle. When I saw that Fallout New Vegas trailer, I was like, yeah. And then I was like ruined from then on, spending hours playing the game. So where did you start?
It's funny. It's funny. It was Blockbuster, and I'll never forget this. So this was, social media really wasn't a thing. Maybe, I don't know where it was. MySpace might have been the one thing, but there was no real place for me to like go and talk about video games to people online, except whenever I got on 360. I just talked to my friends. I remember no one had it. So I went to, and I was a big Dead to Rights fan. I don't know if you know that game where you play as the cop and you got the dog.
The dog, yeah.
And any game, get the dogs. Sham it. Any game with a dog like as a companion, I was just I just lost my mind. I was like, it's gonna be the best thing ever. And so I went to Blockbuster and flipped over, saw Fallout 3, flipped over on the back, and it shows you with your shows your character walking with a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm gonna try this. So I took it home, played it, and people were like, "What are you playing? What's that game?" And I'm like, "It's weird. It kind of reminds me of Oblivion." And everyone's like, "That sounds fantastic." Because I'm an idiot. I didn't pay attention to who made the game. You know, no comparisons whatsoever, other than like, oh, I guess people are just making games like this now. And yeah, it just blew me away. And then come to find out, it's the same people. So that was my story with it. And I'll never forget going into the Super Duper Mart for the first time. I think everyone had that moment of like, oh my God, this is like real, a post-apocalyptic vibe, because we just didn't have a lot of that back then. So
it's such a pinnacle moment in the game when you get to a location that is like a bounteous blessing of loot that you sorely need early on in the game, even though the store really is very empty in Fallout 3. My Fallout 3 story is I tried the game, and you get to Megaton really early, like 2 hours into the game after you leave the vault. And I went into Colin Moriarty's bar, and that's so funny. I thought that Colin Moriarty from YouTube, I thought that was a pseudonym, or how do you say that? I thought that was like a nickname, like he was using the character's voice or name from Fallout. Anyway, I went in there,
like his name is Derek or whatever.
What?
In real life? Like Colin Moriarty's real name is Derek.
Derek Sluvenfoot. Yeah. I think we said the same name at the same time.
Kind of the same name. Yeah, exactly.
So I picked a lock in there, and I didn't realize the mechanics. Like I just picked the lock, and I wasn't crouched because I just didn't know. And everyone came after me, and I run out of the bar and get shot and fall over. And it was just a cycle that went over. It was a same minute gameplay loop. And I'm like, screw this game. And I ditched it. And then a guy at work's like, no, let me tell you, like, he was so obsessed with the game. And he told me everything about it. And I'm like, I got to go back. So that's like how that game works for me. But the Super Duper Mart, it's such a good moment. So I put a poll up for people who are watching the show live or watching the video return viewing of it. I put a poll up that says, what's your favorite Fallout game? And I mostly mean the modern Fallouts. And I put Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, or 76. And Fallout 4 is slightly winning, but it's pretty much even between 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 4, just a couple, 50-some votes. But Fallout 76 is the last. And yeah, I mean, that's funny. I love 76, but I think it would be 4th place, even though I love it so much, because the other 3 are so great. Anyway, yeah. All right. Is it okay if we take a left turn away from Fallout for a minute, Red?
Let's take a left turn, Colt.
Let's talk about
let's talk about where are we going? That's my goofy impression. That was terrible. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Chet. Where are we?
Right, we won't do Kermit today. We'll save that for your show.
I'm so angry.
That's Marvin the Martian. Okay, but the same voice.
Same voice. Oh, that's who that was? Tell that to Assassin.
I'm so angry. Yeah, he would say that with his little alien pistol.
Fantastic.
So there's supposed to be a Grounded cartoon show that's in the works for Netflix or something for the Grounded game, which I'm a big fan of. But they also are releasing like the Yoked edition. There's a trailer today that looks so incredible. And I know most people don't care about Grounded, but that segues right into this Gears show that's supposed to be like in planning stages. Do you know much about this Gears TV show, or what are your hopes and dreams?
Dude, well, I know one thing, and the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is Dave Bautista. Everyone, and he does too, by the way, because of course he caught wind of this. He wants to play Marcus Phoenix like no other. And honestly, I can't think of anyone.
To play Marcus, but go ahead.
That would be great. That would be fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Did you know that Tom Holland was not? Mark Wahlberg was supposed to play. I almost said Jake Sully. Oh my God.
Nathan Drake.
Jake Sully. Nathan Drake.
That would have been so much better.
Sully. Right, but they had that movie was in production for so long, he got old. So they're like, well, now you're too old to do it. So he became Sully. That's how that happened. It's so stupid.
What's the name of the guy that plays Jameson from Spider-Man? Like, he would have made the best Sully. What's his name?
Oh my God, he's Omni-Man. He's He's amazing. J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
It's Mag. It's literally Mag. That's who plays. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he would have made an amazing Sully for that show. But I can understand bringing in somebody who's young and a big box office draw. Other than having, my dream would be Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake and J.K. Simmons as Sully. But
have you seen that short video?
Yeah,
that he does. It's so good, man. I'm just like, he would have killed it, man. It's just, and his name's Nathan. I mean, come on.
I mean, the contract practically writes itself.
I mean, it's right there in front of you guys. Come on, write it in permanent ink. I don't know if there's anything other than permanent.
See that contract? But, you can lick it.
You can suck it. Sorry, that's getting clipped. But yeah, the Gears show.
Red Wolf will say. Red Wolf says, "See that contract? You can lick it." That'll be a tweet.
You can lick it. Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate you. Yeah. So the Gears show, really, I mean, I feel like they have like such a banger on their show because this show is gritty. It's not funny and fun. You know what I mean? Like I can imagine a Gears show starring Dave Bautista as Marcus Phoenix and just having. I mean, I guess the thing is you would just have to go through all the AEW wrestling actors and just hire all of them and just sort of pick your way through because everyone has to be jacked.
Right.
So, but I mean,
come on, brother.
Oh man, can you imagine? Dig him up, get him back. That'd be great. Get him, come on, that'd be so amazing. Can you imagine?
He would still look good even now if you brought him.
He would.
From the grave, he would still look amazing. He's awesome.
Looking up at Rom like, "Get down here," or whatever that Spider-Man says.
Revive me, Anya.
So good. Oh, he's so good.
Batista, do we know anything about the Gears show? I'm not initiated in this. Like, are they bringing back the original Delta Squad? Like, there's going to be Dom. Is that what we're thinking? Are we hoping? What do we know? We got Bill Roberts says Gaz is Coltrane. Can you imagine that? What's Coltrane's famous line?
Woo!
Woo! Gaz's voice.
Woo! That's just it. Yeah, just this
is lit.
This thingy. It's lit. Blood. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, Donnie says, "Hear me out. Adam Driver is General Ram." I can't.
Oh my God.
I can't do it.
And just walking around with.
No, but seriously, do we know anything about the Gears show? Is this like a couple years off? I have not done any.
Yeah.
Like if it's not a game, I don't do any heavy research, even in life.
I mean, it's been a long time coming. It's just people have been talking about it so much and speculating about it that's how Batista heard about the role. He's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I'd play. I mean, excuse me, heck, I'd play as Marcus." And so now he's doing that Henry Cavill thing that whenever whenever The Witcher was coming out, where he's like, "I would love that. I love the games. I love the books. I'm the best at everything, and I'm super handsome." And they're like, "We know." And that's what Batista's doing right now. He's just like, "Please get me in there." So I feel like at this point, when the show comes out, if it's not Batista, it's got to be someone new that we never saw. You know, that's just got to be, because that is another way. I talked about like, me like with immersion, like you see a really well-known character in an iconic role that's never been done before. It really helps whenever they are an unknown actor. Like people, which can
they can't rob it as easily. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which sometimes it can ruin some people's career because then Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker forever. Adam Driver is Kylo Ren forever. That kind of thing. So. But I mean, it's got to be dark. It's got to be gritty. It's got to be. It can't be this silly like what we get like with Fallout because that's its own thing. You know what I mean? So. That's what
I mean, they did Fallout so perfectly. Like, what are the chances that Gears is really well done? There's a Horizon Zero Dawn. I guess that's what I would call it. There's a Horizon Zero Dawn TV show in the works. There's a God of War one. I feel like those are going to get nailed really well. They're kind of like cultivated to be their own thing. But when you've got 15 years of Gears, I think that's what it is, about 15 years, it could be really dicey if you can nail the proper tone and feel. And a lot of people are asking about Gears 6, and I wanted to say we would assume we're going to see Gears 6 at the showcase this summer. I am predicting that we'll see the Marcus Phoenix collection showcased, dip to black, and then see a really quick 1 minute sizzle like tease trailer for Gears 6 for early in 2025 or maybe late 2025. That would be pretty cool. But everyone wants to know like what. Well, I'll just say first, and then I'll let you take the mic on this. But people don't like this. I would like a very linear, dark, mature. Like I'm 15 years older. I want Gears to come with me. I don't want it to be rebooted. But I kind of also want Gears to do that proper opening and let you go out into their world and take on and maybe level up your character. Who's a Jedi warrior in the chat said, let you make your own cog, your own Gears character, and you find gear for your armor and upgrades for your gun and live in the world. But the problem with that, which I think it's cool, the problem is it may make Gears, it'll water it down to be just like every other game we've played for the past 10 plus years. But what do you want from Gears, Red?
Are we still talking about the TV show?
Gears 6 for the game.
Gears 6. Yeah, the thing is, like, so right now, shout out to Holly, that blue number. We're currently going through Gears Judgment right now. So I feel if you start adding mechanics to a game that's not familiar with those type of mechanics, like gear and weapon types and upgrades and stuff like that, to a game like Gears, it might sort of lose its identity because we're playing through Judgment right now, and I'm telling you, it is such an arcadey version of Gears. It doesn't have that heart. It doesn't have those epic iconic moments. You're just like blasting through hallways the entire time, and you're done in 4 minutes. You take out a squad, boom, 4 minutes done. You go to the next area, it pops up this big scoreboard of how well you did.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that. La your experience points. If we were to talk about leveling up your COG character. And the thing is, like, people talk about how and I haven't played 5, but I know that there are open world sections in that game, and people are like, well, what if it's like more open? And like, the thing is, like, Gears isn't a very mobile game. You're not moving very quickly in that game. That's sort of the charm to it. Everything's really grounded, and everything's like really weighty. So it's like, how would you upgrade your character? You get faster, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of like how to put those type of mechanics into a Gears game. So for me, I would just really want it to go darker and get back to where like Gears of War 1 and 2 had us with the darkness and the grittiness.
Even 3, yeah, the 3 of those were pretty dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a proponent of, if you make something really cool, people can like put away the traditions and enjoy a brand new mechanic that kicks butt. And I'm sure that Halo diehards did not want a grappling hook. I'm sure that the diehards were like, what the crap are you doing? But I love that so much, because when it's done well, like the grapple shot, you're so glad. I mean, I played the whole campaign with only that as my gear. That is that's a really good thing, because Mag was my co-host that's not here today. Mag was on Crossfire podcast. I know people get irked that he's on a PlayStation centric podcast, but I think it's nice for people to see another side of him, which I kind of try to eke out of him on the show. But he said, I don't care what they do with Gears. If they change up some mechanics and take away that traditional feel, but it's awesome. These are his words. And it's awesome. People will forgive and forget and say, this is the thing, and I love it. But if Gears tries to change up mechanics and it sucks, then they're going to fall on their face. But man, I would just hope that the Coalition's trying to do something. Like you talked about the heavy weight. Maybe the characters move a little bit more fast. Like maybe they give them 10 or 20% more on foot speed. They're a little more agile. Like maybe they can climb over more than just, cover. I don't know. Maybe they can climb into windows and get in and fight enemies through there and come way out of a building. The building's locked from the other side.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. How do I get in?
I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it's not a good idea, but I'm just saying, if Coalition's got some new mechanics that kind of free up the game and make it feel more fast and fluid, maybe they bring in a little bit of Gears tactics where you find armor pieces like this chest piece gives you a wider reload window, or this gives you a bigger magazine in your gun, or this increases fire rate, whatever. Like, where you feel like as you're in the world, because when you play Gears, you look around the world for the cog tags,
Cog tags.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
And I love it.
Remember in the games, you look for the cog tags for what? In hopes to get an achievement, and that's it. But if you find things in a more modern game, as you find things, let's say you find 10 collectibles, now you've upgraded your health bar, or you can reload easier or something like that. Like, I think that could be cool stuff, but chat, let me know if I'm crazy, but I'm still with you, Red, like a linear, darker, traditional, more upfront 8-hour campaign that just takes you through these big moments and then puts you out on the other side. The credits is, I'm totally okay with that as well. So, anyway.
Yeah. And like their co-op with open world like elements they've been done really well before. Oh my God, it's right on the tip of my tongue hole. What am I? I don't know. Because I was trying not to say butthole, so that way that didn't get clipped.
Butoxial.
Right, exactly. So, but there was a co-op game that I played that was. It was open, and it was. I don't want to waste too much time. But
like Outriders or what?
No, it was a co-op game that I played with friends, and it had a lot of like that collectible, like upgrades type stuff going on. Was it a horror game?
But like you're talking about,
I can't remember.
That you like that when you explore, when you look in the nook and crannies, or you go off the beaten path, like you get rewarded for it. Like, I want to see what's over here, fight a few enemies. Plus, I just found something that makes me a little more powerful. Like, people love that, right?
It's a great example, and people will either love me or time has passed enough to where people are realizing how wrong they are. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite co-op game of all time, still to this day, is Dead Space 3. It's still to this day, it is my favorite game, and that I think is maybe that's the game that I'm thinking of actually, where it sort of went away now, and part of this is EA's fault for like what they wanted to do. But as far as a co-op game, that game's co-op experience is amazing. You're upgrading your character's rigs, the weapons, everything. Like, you're upgrading as you go along, and you're surviving together. But that's not what the game was traditionally.
No,
it didn't have co-op. It made it more actiony. You know, they changed, and they sort of went away from what they were known for. But for me, it worked, and I feel like maybe people just, you know, they wanted the traditional experience, but it's co-op, so it was sort of hard to do, and they were forced into it. But that's just a weird example.
Dead Space 3 is a well-loved fan version of the game where they kind of say it's not really Dead Space, it's just a great co-op game, or it's a great action Dead Space game. And it's so perfect you bring that up, because there was a controversy that went on with like the insider group on Twitter and YouTube. Jeff Grubb reported that Dead Space 2, like, we're all waiting to see what they do with a remaster for 2. And he was reporting that from what he heard, and I'm not going to take this in the direction you think I am, but from what he heard, that they were working on, or they were in some sort of development period part with Dead Space 2, the remaster, and it got completely shelved. And this got corrected by Jason Schreier, who's like, he's a bullish, he's like, EarthClan. Actually, that was never in development. So Jason Schreier was like, let me put the kibosh on that. I'm going to do all the digging and find out what really happened. According to other experts in the insider community, that Dead Space 2 was never in development. Maybe it was just on a whiteboard. That doesn't matter. The problem is that EA knows what their fans want, and they've had such a hard time delivering that. But for a second, Red, I want to focus on, there's two different times I want to bring up this theme, where Jeff Grubb said something on a live podcast, no script, And there is this massive outrage and the gotcha culture and the witch hunting where how dare you report something that isn't right or isn't perfect or maybe that changed and I'm going to destroy your credibility. And I know that may sound melodramatic, but I've done a podcast for a long time. And now that you've been doing a podcast for some 30 or 50 episodes, right? You start to understand that you say things on the show. And let me just stand up for Jeff Grubb for a minute. For the heck of it, because I know where he's at. Like, he talked to someone told him, oh, hey, they were going to work on that maybe this is all he heard, right? You know, they were working on that Dead Space 2 and they canceled it. And Jeff just interpreted that like, oh, they must have been in development. Or he just kind of got ahead of it and filled in the blanks because you like kind of, you fill in the pockets. And it just, sometimes it doesn't seem that inconsequential or consequential. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Like,
yeah,
Jeff trusts his source that told him they were working on the game. Maybe Jeff added in the extra part that it was in development, like a technicality. Maybe the truth was at EA, it was just on a list on a whiteboard, and they were gathering people to get going on the game, and they canceled it. I think, who the frick cares? Like, in the end, the game was not ready to be revealed or anything. It's such a technicality where people get into this like crazy witch hunting culture. Maybe I'm defending too hard, but I kind of look at that and I'm like, why do we freak out so much about that? I mean, he had 80% of the information, like close enough. I don't know. Maybe I'm. Who cares?
Thing like if I bump into somebody that works at a grocery store and they tell me, hey, our shipment of milk, some of it was bad, and I go, well, you're telling me that, so. And then I go and I tell a friend, and they're going, so some of the milk was bad? And I go, yeah. And then if one person goes and they buy a jug of milk from that same store and it's fine, and they go, you're a liar. You F word, you are a liar. And it's like, dude, I am literally just telling you what the lady at the cash register of this grocery store told me. And part of that is true because, yeah, I threw up. But you know what I mean? That's just like a good, is it a good example? I don't know. But that's just my example. I don't know.
I don't
Chat, let me
know.
Is that a good example?
I feel like when I say it out loud, and that's the reason why I bring it up, when you say something out loud on a podcast and then people start to dissect it, sometimes I feel like when you're a prominent person that people follow for information, you have to be super careful. A kind of a funny anecdote is when we were at the Elder Scrolls Online event a couple weeks ago, they had this, for all of you like Elder Scrolls fans, they had this Elder Scroll, like a mock-up of it that's like this wide. It's the gold scroll, and it had the cloth coming down with all the Daedric or Elvish writing on it. And one of the guys I was there with that runs a Elder Scrolls channel was like, we need to translate this and find out what it says. And so we were looking up the Daedric or the Elvish alphabet and trying to come up with a correlation, and we couldn't figure out, none of the letters looked like anything. And the reason why I bring this up is that we went over and talked to the lead narrative director of Elder Scrolls Online. Like, this guy does all of the lore checks and everything. And he goes, what are you talking about, that Elder Scrolls thing out there in the case, like the prop? And I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, that's just gibberish. And I go, what? He goes, oh yeah, if we make like a mock-up or we make something, we tell the people who are making it, don't put any characters that even resemble anything that is in our game, because one, we may accidentally put the F word in there, or two, someone's going to just like take a little segment and go, oh my gosh, the next game's going to be set and blah, blah, blah. Like he said, we know you fans are so obsessive, and you will not let us up for anything. He was really, really cool and funny about it. But the whole translation thing can become such a problem when we speak about little bits of news we hear. So anyway, yeah. Hey,
it's yeah.
I just got to say, thank you everybody for being here with Red Wolf and I. This is the XNC Podcast, is an Xbox newscast, and I'm here with Red Wolf from the Renegade Realm podcast. Did I get that right? I always want to call you the Retro Realm Renegade Wolf and Ragnarok podcast.
DeMarco dude who is on my panel, he says the Red Wolf Renegade podcast. I'm like, that's not right, but whatever. You've only been here for six 7, 8 months.
And you're fired.
He'll get it. And you're done. No, love DeMarco. Renegade Realm podcast on Red Wolf Renegade channel. Yeah, so it gets confused. I'm confusing.
Yeah, I've got your @ for Twitter in the description. You can go there and sub to his channel. He's at about 550 subs. We're not going to go right to the number because then that looks petty for him. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
But yeah, hit the thumbs up if you guys are enjoying the show. I know we're kind of like trying to get into some of the bigger stuff because the Dead Space thing, it's not happening. Unfortunately, the Dead Space 1 remaster didn't sell that well. I bought it day one. I loved it. But it's kind of how the games industry is going right now. And that brings me to the report that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has sold half as much as Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's sold under Final Fantasy 16, which, from what I gather from most fans, is like, it's a pretty good Final Fantasy game. But there's also reports that the $70 game price model is not working. So I don't know, Red, you are into the Final Fantasy games a little bit more than I am. What's going on with the series? Everybody said it was super big.
I mean, I don't know what the cadence of releases for Final Fantasy games are usually, but the fact that 16 came out and then a year later 7 comes out. I mean, somebody keep me honest, guys, because I don't have a PS5. I have a PS4.
2 years later, I think.
Was it 2 years from 16 to 7? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. ADD.
Drink it, then convert it to pee.
I think, you're right. It was less than I think it was like May was Final Fantasy 16. Help me out, chat. Yeah. About a year. Sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe like people, whenever they see another Final Fantasy game, I mean, some people might still be playing 16, or they just got done playing it a few months ago. So it's just, they're like, another Final Fantasy. But the thing is, like, it's with Final Fantasy, it's weird. It's like Marvel. It's like some people will play a Marvel game because it's a certain superhero, and then Spider-Man comes out. They just got done playing, whatever, Iron Man. And then Spider-Man comes out a year later, and they're just ready for the next hero. They're ready for the next adventure with that specific character and those people. And I think Final Fantasy has kind of that. I'm not comparing Final Fantasy to Marvel. I'm just saying, like, each Final Fantasy has its own vibe and its own thing. And 7 is the most popular without a shadow of a doubt. People have their preferences.
Their favorite one,
yeah, but it is the most popular without a shadow of a doubt. So it's interesting to me that it didn't sell what you would expect. I'm expecting like 8 million copies within the first 2 minutes or whatever.
I'm not surprised, and I can explain why. Final Fantasy VII, you made a really good point, right? Final Fantasy VII.
I can hear you. Continue.
Okay. Final Fantasy VII came out in 2020, I think. And then 16 came out in... Shoot. Help me out, chat. Final Fantasy 16 came out in 2023, and now you've got Final Fantasy VII and Rebirth in 2024. So, yeah, if those are big games, and you could feel like, oh, I just did that. But Final Fantasy VII Remake came out on 100 million PS4s. Rebirth is on half as many for 50 million PS5. So that already should cut your ability to sell the game, which is it's at half. So I think that's why. But one of the reports is like, oh, normally sequels don't sell as much. And I think back at a lot of my favorite sequels. And I feel like a lot of part 2s do really, really well. But I think what the problem is that Final Fantasy VII is only relegated to the PlayStation platform. And with such a big franchise as Final Fantasy, you need to have that a multi-platform game. But I was told that Final Fantasy VII Remake wouldn't have been made if PlayStation wouldn't have paid up front and money handed it. So,
right, yeah, I mean, and I think now with what's going on with Xbox and Square Enix, I think that we're gonna start to see. I don't know anything, or do I? With Square Enix and the port of Xbox coming out, maybe whenever the trilogy is totally done. But I think now with the new leadership at Square Enix, they're looking more into, well, we could have had a couple extra copies sold if it was on everything all at once. But you're right. Like whenever you look at like, I feel like whenever, because you said it really well, this sort of sparked something. Whenever you think of like a sequel versus like like whenever you said like part 2, Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII ends on like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? You know, like a cliffhanger. Not like a cliffhanger, but it ends with like, well, we know there's way more coming. So to call Rebirth a part 2, you think that it would sell better than just a normal sequel. So I don't know. It's strange to me. But it being restricted to just one platform right now, definitely doesn't help. And like Helldivers right now, a lot of people are wanting. Yeah, even lots of PlayStation fans are like, we need more people. Helldivers is like such a community focused game, and people are like, we just want more people to come and play, you know. And it's like, yeah, that would be awesome. But can you imagine if Helldivers released on everything? Well, I guess it released on PC and PlayStation day one, but if it came out on Xbox at the same time, it's crazy. I mean, we're sort of looking at the double-edged sword of exclusivity sometimes. Jonas in chat, who's a good friend, definitely he's one of those anti-exclusive people, and he sees the, release it everywhere or at least timed exclusive at the worst. So I think we're kind of seeing that now.
Helldivers is killing it, but I wonder if it's an uptick in console sales for the PlayStation, or if it's just an uptick in sales on already purchased PlayStations and PC. I don't know that, but like Power World was really, really big. Like, I don't know if what the difference was. I don't think Power World is as big as Helldivers, but did Power World boost up Game Pass sales? Maybe. Did it boost up Xbox console sales? Probably not. And I'm starting to wonder as I've changed. I mean, I haven't really changed. I have videos from like 8 years ago or 7 years ago where I said exclusivity is really a 10 to 20% issue, where on your platforms, you'll sell exclusives to 10, usually about 20% at the most to your platforms. And that's it. Like, there's a cap of people that are buying those big exclusive games on your platform. And then the rest of the games are all multi-plat that just make the world go round. I want to read a couple supers here. Assassin Entertainment, one of your co-hosts, has a member chat. He's been a member for 34 months.
That's my son.
That's your son. He says, you guys are going to make the entire chat rage dump if you don't start talking about your topics. This was 20 minutes into the show. He says, how much juice did Colt feed you, Red? Love you, Muppets. Thank you, Assassin.
Yes. Yeah, thanks, bro.
Biff Rinaldi, thank you so much for the $2 super. Says, love episode 1 of Fallout, watching the rest on his next day off. Yeah. You can watch about 2 episodes. It's like 2 hours a night. And then you're like, whew, and then just go. We got through the series in like 3 nights. So it was amazing. David Kirkhoff, thank you so much for the €6. Said, watch the show later. I am tired. It's already late here in Amsterdam. Love the show. I would say I wish I was there, but the trip was so long to get there. What a beautiful city. David, look me up next time or come over here. So world-renowned GeoHound in the chat a long time ago said, Colt, we should start an X&C clan guild on Fallout 76. I've got a group that I play with, like Red, Holly, Dante, and other people. But yeah, we should start a clan. I plan to pick up 76 back up again as well. And there's a couple things left on the main quest. You're trying to build your way up to be able to drop your own nukes in the world, and it's supposed to be pretty cool. Dante J. Moody on Xbox, but Spriggan here. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. My good friend, who I always hit up for party chat late at night. He's like, Colt, I'm trying to go to bed, bro. You're not my real friend. That's what he said to me last night.
Yep.
He's like, oh,
sing me to sleep. Yep.
So just sit there and go.
I'm in bed. You just pet your mic. It's just this constant just.
Yeah, I'm like, that the scruffy sound is going to be me petting your mic.
Yeah.
You can pretend that's top of your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Dante's such a good friend. And a real life friend, because we hang out at FanFest when we can. He says, TV has turned out to be the best format for video game adaptations versus movies, which were mostly bad. Fingers crossed for Gears. It's funny that he says that because remember when the video game adaptations, the movie adaptations of video games were so bad, like really bad. Like, wasn't Doom? Who played the main character of Doom? Was it The Rock?
Carl Urban and The Rock. Carl Urban who is Billy Butcher in The Boys. He's
amazing.
Oh my God, he's one of my favorite actors ever, and he's in Lord of the Rings. He's the son of the king. I mean,
he's the
amazing.
Rohan Rider. What's his name in the show?
Rohan Rider, yeah.
The movie?
I
would cut off your head.
Orc
dwarf if it stood, but I can't remember the line. You know it.
Yeah, if it stood but an inch higher to my yeah.
And my ox.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah. Donnie says doing the Colt Eastwood face. I was reacting to a super chat that Colt just got.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I am. I will get to that in just a second. I'm looking at the stack one here. Michael Angel, Ezekiel Ortiz. Thank you so much for $2 to say. Just want to say you and Red are awesome, and he's got this.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mag messaged me yesterday. He's like, Cole, I'm not going to make it back into town. I won't be there for the show. I'm so excited to talk about Fallout. I said, that's cool because next week more people will have dug into the show and we could talk about it a little more freely and still more carefully. But thank you so much, Michael. We got Maxi Coleman with the ARS 100, which is about $2 over here. Says it's not a sequel. It's a part 2. That was a mistake. I think he's talking about Final Fantasy. You already have a ceiling of sales. The ones who bought the first part. Yes, that's right. And I did know that when you were talking about the part 2, I was thinking, well, they split it into 3 parts. So they're really like $60, $70, $70. But yeah, they said you already have a ceiling of sales. The ones who bought the first part. On top of that, you remove the PS4 users. Absolutely. That was the problem. All right, there we go. True 77 goes, Red, do you have a Colt impression? Can you do my voice? Probably have to pinch your nose.
I don't know what I would no, I don't know if I could do it because my voice isn't deep enough, but it's
can you do Risk It for the Biscuit for this fine? Because Risk It likes to hang out in the chat and people are fans.
He's like, hey guys, welcome to the XNC podcast, and we're here with Red Wolf Renegade. Oh, sorry, I went a little New Zealand there, trying to keep. Sorry, I've been traveling around a lot, trying to advertise my. I can't get out of the New Zealand. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Lady Girls. Lady Girls? Oh, sorry, I can't remember what the show's called. Anyway, thanks guys. Subscribe to the Infinite Podcast. Thank you. There you go. That was terrible.
Infinite Podcast. Every Friday.
Every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or
free Kangadoodles. We got Bit for Naldies. Thank you so much for the $2. Carl Urban is Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie. Carl Urban.
Oh, that's true. That's true. He is playing Johnny Cage in the did you see the Mortal Kombat movie?
No.
Dude,
no.
It's really good. Speaking of video game adaptations, that one really good, man. I had a lot of fun watching that. Like, I didn't feel like stupid. Like, it was like, because you don't take it that seriously. It's Mortal Kombat. But anyway, yeah, Carl Urban, Johnny Cage. That's gonna be great. I love that. I love that for amazing. Him.
And he was so good as is his name Bones in Star Trek movie? Is that his name?
Yeah. And I don't think if it's. I can't remember if that's his name, but that.
I think it is Bones. That's when I fell in love with him as an actor, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the dude from the Two Towers and Return of the King, which I loved him there, and then he did such a great job in the Star Trek movie. He's definitely one to watch. So this is kind of an interesting like sidebar, but this happened just before the show went up. Moore's Law is Dead, who is a PlayStation and PC tech podcast. He's done a lot of leaks for the hardware. He put up a PS5 Pro leak video and apparently might have used some internal documentation to back up his claims in the video. And according to Tom Warren with a screenshot, Sony did a copyright strike. Strike being you only get 3 of these on your channel, and your channel is gone. but they did a full strike and removed his video, which to me sounds like he had a lot of accurate information about this console that comes out in like 6 months. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but.
Okay. And this is,
Moore's Law is dead. He is probably about your age. He runs a YouTube channel with like 80,000 or 100,000 subs.
Okay.
And he's got some, like me, he's got some stuff wrong. He's got some stuff dead on. And he's been right about the PS5 Pro stuff here for a while. So, yeah, Sony like straight up just hit him hard with a...
okay, so which is really telling, right? Like whenever somebody says something that they weren't supposed to say, usually... I mean, like, and I don't know, like the inside. I know, like, there's other stuff that happened in the industry with journalists recently that kind of points to how leaking things can be dangerous and whatnot. But
yeah,
this sucks for whenever people trust. Like you and I know people. I'm fortunate enough to have met a lot of people in a very short span of time in the past year or so. That have their sources they're trustworthy enough to know like when you can say something that's not going to get someone in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that again another double-edged sword when it comes to leaking stuff. And we've seen like the negative side of this where people really try to take advantage of this with clout and like use it for clout with just like especially like negative news whenever you're leaking stuff. But for someone to just get 3 strikes, boom, and they're done, that's some serious business, man. That's hard. That's hard business. That sounds like a 90s movie with Val Kilmer and
Hard Business.
Al Pacino. Hard Business.
No, with Hard Business with oh jeez, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's what it would be.
In Hard Business. That purse
in theaters
doesn't look good on you.
God, have you ever seen the interview with him and with Christian Harloff? And there's something going. He's like, so tell me about your time at the hotel there after the screening for your new movie. He's like, yeah. So this waiter came up to me and she said, "Would you like a glass of milk? Would you like some cookies?" And I said, yes. That was literally something that actually happened. He is out there, man. He's great. I love him.
I love Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I don't remember what his accent is. But whenever I do the Jean-Claude Van Damme accent, it becomes Antonio Banderas. That's just, I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
What I was.
I don't know. He's like, that purse doesn't look good on you.
Does not look good on you, man.
Fonz is in the chat. Fonz will tell me. Fonz goes, "Wasn't that Hard Target?" Fonz, where is Jean-Claude Van Damme from? Like, what's his accent? He's from Brussels, I think, something like that. Somebody help me. I'm looking at the chat. Black silk underwear. French Quebec. What? French Quebec? Oh, is that what he is? Belgian, says Dead Time. Belgian. Okay. Belgian. Isn't Belgia like just underneath France? He's Belgian, they say. Belgium. Wait, some people are saying he's Belgium. Some people are saying Belgian. I'm very scared. No, I'm just kidding.
Belgium. Yeah, Belgium. We need a Bedlam.
So,
there we go.
Wedged between Spain and France. So you have to do, the purse doesn't look good on you. I'm Zorro. You have to mix those two.
There we go. Right, exactly. Like, you got to have.
Hey, this coming from a guy who's been out of the country for like 5 minutes. The muscles from Brussels, says Relzar. Okay, we're off the rails. Let me get back to where
whenever you were in Amsterdam, you got an appetizer, you got your meal, and then they said, "Do you want a dessert? We have special brownies." And you're like, "I'm scared."
Everyone's like, Colt visited the coffee shops. It's like, I barely even know what weed smells like. So no. And to make it perfectly clear, I went a whole 5 days with 0 Mountain Dew. They don't have everywhere. It's just a Coca-Cola. And it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry.
So yeah, anyway, we were talking about, I don't know how we got on Jean-Claude Van Damme, but the strike for that video about PS5 Pro. So it's real. The funny thing about that, Red, was that Tom Warren put out an article this morning with like all of the leaks and all of the hardware specs, like basically as much you can know, like this frequency, this power thing, like this amount of power percentage and stuff. So I don't know how much more Moore's Law's Dead video showcase, but he was like, Tom Warren's like, oops, he got struck. And I'm like, Tom, you have the same content. We all kind of talk about that stuff. So I don't know. Hey, let's take another sidebar. I don't know if you guys care, but kind of cool. I guess Avatar, I think the tall blue people, and Star Wars are coming to Fortnite. And last time they did Star Wars, there's some pretty cool stuff there. I don't really play it as much anymore.
Is the multiverse of video games, and it's amazing. I love it. It's crazy, man. Like everything is in Fortnite now, and I was one of those people. I mean, Fortnite was one of those games where you play it and you're like, I don't want my friends to see me playing this. After a while, I was like, F it, man, F it. I don't give a
it got so good.
Shoot. Exactly, it got so good. It's a great shooter. I mean, they added so many. They modernized the shooting. Like, there's so much in that game that's just people just assume that it's the same. It's for 13-year-olds. It's like, well, yeah, it's also for 78-year-olds. It's a great game. Oh, I'm so sorry.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
It's a great way to stay in shape, exactly. To keep your Twitch channel in shape. That's true. If you're a 14-year-old Asian man. But the thing is, Fortnite has been.
I'm a 14-year-old
Asian
man.
Yeah, I'm so
the Greek stuff was really cool. They did the Zeus.
Yeah.
All the you know all the names of the different characters, but that stuff was done really well.
Alexios.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. There's a ton of they have like live concerts in that game. So, Star Wars. They've done Star Wars before with Darth Vader, right? They had Darth Vader. I have Boba Fett. That's like who I play as whenever I play. Yeah. And I know you know people that have like the Mandalorian, and
My son has the Mandalorian. I bought Boba Fett like 3 weeks ago or something. So.
Right.
It's great seeing Boba Fett do the Dua Lipa dance. I don't know why that just kind of puts everything all in the right feels for me, I suppose.
Right.
I got a super chat from Lotus Esprit, like right as I was trying to log out and hit all the buttons that close the show. And it's so important to read this $5 super chat because it's the message we all needed. Lotus Esprit says, play what you want, when you want, and on what you want, and be happy.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's so true.
I love that for them.
It's so true. Exactly. I love that for them. I wish that was what everyone believed, but the majority of people, the vocal minority of people online being rude and mean because you like your platform, it sucks. It sucks because they're bullies. They're all bullies, and they're not really real people either. I always tell Colt that they're not real.
They're not real. Yeah,
they're just a hive mind of negativity, you know.
I meant to bring this up earlier in the show, but since you said it now, Christopher Dring, who writes for GamesIndustry.biz, which is a really great, prominent news source for anything tech related. They do a lot of tech and gaming related stuff. And Christopher Dring reports a lot on physical sales and tracks physical sales across the UK. And I would only assume that Christopher Dring has been reporting on the Final Fantasy sales being way lower than expected. It's yet another time where Square Enix says, well, they haven't said, but they're thinking we have not met expectations on their sales. And Christopher Dring's been harassed so much lately as a reporter of video games news that they have decided to put their Twitter on hiatus. Right now, it's an unavailable account, so maybe they just kind of deactivate it for the moment. But it's gotten so bad that even on other forum sites, people are going after Matt Piscatella, who reports for the MPD group and does all of their research for the numbers. And we literally have people fighting about how well or how not well the platforms are doing when it comes to video games. Matt says, if you're not in this industry, you have no reason to care about what the sales figures are. These people aren't real.
Right. And it's one of those things like we always talk about whenever you try to tell people like an objective thing, if they've already made up their mind prior, it doesn't matter what you had to say to them. It doesn't matter what facts you have to bring to the table. They just don't want to hear it. And then they're going to attack people who have the actual facts and knowledge and just be rude and mean for no reason whatsoever. And it's unfortunate that someone like that has a pedigree of reporting things, especially in numbers, is going to come out and say, hey, here's some more facts for you. From what I'm seeing, you know, and then people are like, I don't care about that. I've already made up my mind. It's amazing, and you're wrong, and I hate you. and it just sucks. Like, and you think that like people online, you think like people have thick skin because of what they post. Well, they threw that out there with their thumbs and with tears most of the time, just putting it out there and saying, I don't even care. I don't even care. A lot of times, I mean, people don't realize how affecting it is, just to be negative online. And someone like this putting out just facts and just getting absolutely bullied is just ridiculous. It's sad to say that I'm like not surprised anymore, right? It sucks.
Same. And I've been guilty of many different things, and sometimes I'll goat people with haha, this is doing what you didn't think it would, or I don't so much do the haha, Final Fantasy didn't sell, told you so. I try not to do that as much, but none of us are ever perfect. But I just like, these mother effers aren't even real sometimes. Like the things that they say. One of my friends got called some horrible physical descriptions of him and stuff over him saying something like, I don't know, he was just replying to a tweet. And I'm like, these people aren't real. And I thought, it's really crummy that someone who reports in the games industry who has 18,000 or 30,000 followers can't have a thick skin. But I'm like, I was like, where was this said about Matt Piscatella? And they're like, oh, it was on Icon Era. I'm like, isn't that like another bad place, like Reset Era? And they're like, yeah. And I'll get off this topic in a second, but I'm like, those people aren't real. That's like the hive and scum villainy of the planet. Like, those aren't real people. They live in this dark, moldy, danky location on the internet, and they just spew out hate with a cartoon avatar that doesn't resemble them. So they're totally anonymous. And I was like, that, you know, if I was Christopher Dring or Matt Piscatella, I would say, look, I'm over here helping the industry, reporting, you know, and celebrating. It shouldn't bother me, but the stuff does hit. But I don't know.
And it's to what you said, like whenever I tried to research what was happening with this specific thing that we're talking about right now with this journalist and what happened, I the only thing that I could find was things like NeoGAF and or not Neo or maybe I bumped into that too, but you just said it a second ago. The forum boards, you know, and it's like nothing, there's no information at all that's positive. I'm like, I just need a straight answer, and all people are doing is that they just want to be negative and just attack and make jokes. And it's like, when the joking becomes like normal like that, you know, like they're like
the insults, you mean?
Where you get to be the insults and stuff. It's like, that's not funny. That's not like a real joke. You're actually just being really terrible right now, but it's so normal to you, and it's unfortunate. And I can't imagine if my name was all over like 15 different forums, and all I'm trying to do is just like say what I, you know, put my facts out there, whatever I've researched. And can you imagine typing something out and well, I know, you know, being all happy, putting up a tweet and be like, haha, and then 10 minutes later you look back and people are like, F yourself and whatever, you know.
Okay, let me pose a situation that happened this past week to you and see where you stand on it. I do not want to sway your opinion in any way, so I'll try and present this to you in the chat and the audience. Shout out to everybody for being here. We appreciate it. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. We're trying to cover stuff, but Red and I, we have ADD, and I know it sounds like an excuse, but like when we talk, we don't get anything accomplished on the phone. So it's a real thing. I'm going to pose this tweet to you neutrally and see what you think. Mike Ibarra, who used to work with Xbox and the head of Blizzard, put out a tweet the other day saying, do you ever love a game so much that you think, man, I wish I could do more? Like, if there was an option to tip the developers like $10 or $20 to say, hey, I really enjoyed this game more than I thought I would. That's pretty much what he said. There was an outrage to that. Like, what was your initial reaction when you saw that tweet? Or did you see it?
Well, no, I mean, I heard about it. At first I didn't understand because I guess you have to understand, first of all, like what that means. You and Fonz had a great conversation about this.
Okay, so you're a little bit
tainted
in the because you listen to us talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I heard about it before, and I was like, oh, I can understand that. Like, this is sort of. I'll say this. Whenever I first heard about this, before hearing you guys, it reminded me of how I felt about when the Stalker 2 devs, when all that stuff happened in the world with what they're going through.
When they were talking about the war and losing people dying, moving their studio.
Yeah, and I remember going into comments, in Twitter and YouTube and Reddit or whatever, and talking about like, yeah, we need to support these guys. Like, definitely give them your pre-order and show them if you're excited for the game. This is the time to support them. And people, of course, then the negativity comes. That's not how it works. They don't deserve. And I'm like, you're missing the point. Like that's the type of that in that situation, I would be more than happy to, tip or pay more, or actually, like if someone says you want to support the war effort with what these dudes have been. I mean, I don't want to go into
support
detail,
the
but
studio effort during their turmoil. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then if they would say, do you want to pay $70?
You want to buy bombs? You want to buy bullets?
If you buy bombs, we'll ship it right to your house.
Yeah, I mean, these developers from Game World Studio had like their boxes and like their studio was like in disarray and they had lost people. So yeah, go ahead. It's a different situation, sure.
It's a completely different say, and that's why I'm just sort of trying to like parse the two, because if they said, here is something that you could literally support the devs directly by, you want to pay $70 or more, you can pay whatever you want for this game, and that's totally up to you, okay? But it goes straight to the devs, and it's supporting them and their efforts and their families and whatever. It's giving them extra money. It's like throwing super chats at them. Shout out to Lotus Esprit. But you're literally supporting them directly.
Yeah.
That's different. But the reality is, like you and Fonz talked about, like that's not how money works. And like in my line of work, this money doesn't come all at once. Like whenever, a lot of the times, publishers are different. Game developing companies are different. The majority of the time, they have allocations. So they have all this big lump sum of money, and they have to wait a certain amount of time for the money to come in. Then the people come together, and then they have to allocate that money to the developers and to the publishers and whoever. But the majority of the time, that money is going to the publishers. And
there you
like
go.
you guys talked about. So tipping, and I don't know. And I heard what you said. He's just saying, I love this game so much, I just want to give him more money. And it's like, well, I did give them my money. That my stance is, I did give them my money.
I already bought the game.
I already bought the game. What can I do? I can spread the word. I can talk about it on my podcast. I can give it a good rating. But you are the one who chose to put this price point on this product, and I gave you that. Yeah, you didn't ask me for any more. And I don't know. But if it's optional, whatever.
Well, I mean, and I talked to a friend about this a little bit this afternoon before the show, and it's just I've changed as I've gone along and gotten a little bit older, especially just this past several months. I've started to kind of back off of the knee-jerk reactions. And when I saw Mike's tweet, I purely saw it as he must have been playing something that he's just like, you know what? I'm surrounded by thousands and thousands of gaming fans on this app on Twitter. And he just wanted to say, hey, don't you just love, how you do with your buddies? Don't you just love games? You need to elbow your buddy and you shake him. You're like, don't you just love games so much?
Don't you love this? This is great.
Look at it. Look at it.
Look at my kids. Yeah.
Seriously, like that's how I saw Mike Ibarra's tweet, and the whole tipping or we already paid too much for games wasn't coming into my mind, because as I've become more positive, because the first half of the year I was a really negative person watching changes and kind of understanding where things are going in the industry, because everyone's kind of in their own trouble and things are going to get better with the change, believe it or not. So like we're much happier now. And I saw Mike Ibarra's tweet. I'm like, oh, of course they're going to and I saw people in the chat, and I understand. I totally understand when they say, ooh, tipping. Oh, we already paid too much for games. Yeah, I know.
Ooh,
when I look at that part of his tweet that does exist, Sorry, Red. Just give me a second. When I look at that part, yeah, of course. My problem is sometimes it's okay to focus on, because Mikey Barr is not going to implement a tipping system. I think he was just like, don't you wish you could do more without, and he didn't even think, it was that whole theme I talked about at the beginning of the show. He didn't think about the extra parts. And so many times we say things and there's some parts that can be kind of translated differently or from different perspective, or you just didn't think it through. And he doesn't mean any hurt by it. But what if, how about this? What if you were playing a game and you're like midway through it and in the loading screen it says, loving Pal World, considering tipping the developers, and it has a link that'll take you to your PayPal account? I'd be like, F off. Like, even if I was loving the game, yeah. Right? So I'm with you guys on that.
Right.
But I think he got harassed pretty good for that. He got articles written about him because former Blizzard and Xbox executive eats small kittens for a living, that sort of thing. So
confirmed.
Confirmed. I'm sorry.
I saw a cat in his background. I had one leg.
Yeah, like the salt. Yeah.
For example.
Shout out to Risk the Biscuit in the chat as well. We've been talking in DMs a lot. And we're like, we're kind of shaking off the, you want to say, hey, you puff your chest out and say, hey, come on now. Let's think about, think about everybody, from where everybody comes from. Like, not everybody has the same access. What are we doing when it comes to the platforms? And then we've been like thinking, you know what? Maybe some things will be better, and maybe the change takes some getting used to, but he's been really super excited about gaming. And Capono in the chat was like, where are the games, Colt? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's been like 7 months, but Hellblade's in a month. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
What
wait,
I
swore?
You say to... Oh, go ahead.
I did not swear in the chat. Risk it. I said poop.
I don't know.
I don't know what
I don't think you did. I would have noticed it. I would have been like, "Oh, I'm telling." I don't think you did.
I said on a party chat, I said "pho," and Hargy was like, "Cold sore" in the party chat. I'm like,
yeah,
pho.
Right, exactly. Pho, man.
Yeah. Tim Barry says, "Be nice to Abari. He's got money." Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It comes off bad as a guy who lives in a really nice place in like Bellevue area. And has all these nice things. He's like, don't you wish you could just throw $20 to a dev? And people like Red are like, I wish I had $20 to throw my water bill. I'm just kidding.
That's exactly how I feel every single time. I'm like, don't like the game, pay my water bill, play this game. Let's see how far I can go without drinking. That's, or taking a shower or whatever. Yeah, Cecil. I'm gonna start calling Cecil in chat Spicy
dry
Cecil.
Shampoo will work on my whole body.
Exactly right. Exactly. Just throw it in my armpits and my hair and my beard and my nose, and it's a great
Who
way
needs
to
a bath when there's a game coming out next month?
Exactly. Just stay in the same spot. Don't move. Just move as little as possible, and you will sweat as little as possible.
Woodpit 420 in the chat says, please don't say poop. I actually had a friend that we used to podcast with that said that the word poop was more disgusting than any other word to him. Like, it made him gag when he heard it. And I'm like, seriously? And I say it again. He's like, have you seen the video of the lady, like, on one of those talk shows where they talk about phobias and like, this is Janice and she's afraid of pickles, and they bring out a plate of pickles. She's like, oh.
Like afraid of like chandeliers or whatever, and they're like, oh! Like it's not doing anything. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's great.
Chandeliers. Walk into this nice house.
First thing. And he's like, oh my god, yeah. What's his name? It's a chandelier. No.
What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Get out of here. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Phobias are weird, man.
Oh,
and then
man, my mom came to visit us last year, and she brought her friend with her, a friend that I've grown up around. And she walks in the house. As soon as she came in, she goes, oh, great, nice house. Let's go out on the back deck. And I'm like, okay, it was the middle of summer. She ran out there really quick. And my mom goes, she's really allergic to strong smells. Like, oh, what strong smell? She's like, my wife like had one of those candles from Bed Bath and Beyond. Like, I don't know, it was like cranberry. It was going, and she's like, oh.
She just starts floating out of the room because the smell of outsideness just starts carrying her away like the pie.
So like, you know how they do like on Looney Tunes where their legs just kind of dangle behind
yeah.
them? She's like,
She's well,
she goes through the door. She goes through the dog door.
Exactly. Right, exactly. Just getting sucked out.
Like the ring.
Like at the end of remember at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street when the mom's like, "Bye, kids," and then the mom gets like sucked through that little peek hole in the wind. Never mind, it's great.
I haven't seen those movies.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
I was too scared.
They're fine.
But...
Yeah, Freddy Krueger's. That's more like a funny. That's funny. It's funny. As I'm saying, I'm like, is it
watch
funny?
Watch with your kids.
Watch it with your kids. Oh man, the amount of people that I heard watching Fallout with their kids because they're like, it's a video game. Susie, come on in, and then, nope, that's not how that works. Yeah, I saw a bunch
I
of
wish I
funny
could
Reddit
find
posts
something
about
that scares my mom away. You know, when she comes over, hey mom,
Right.
pickles. Ooh. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
I can say that because my mom won't watch the show. It's, you know, because my mom's like in her 70s, right? She's like, I cannot watch your show. You just say the same thing over and over. I'm like,
I just don't understand it.
We change topics once in a while. Just don't love it. That's my mom's voice, if anybody wants to know. Don't love it at all. I can watch your brother's podcast, but I can't watch yours. I don't know what you're talking about.
You can follow Colt's mom at TimDog on Twitter. That's where you can see. I think that's her Twitter, right?
When I think of Tim being my mom, it's Minion from Megamind. I've had some work done. Please watch that movie. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm his fake dad. And then
every
the
time
Minion
you say that
fish robot, he's got like the wig on and some makeup. He's like, and I've had some work done. And it's Ian. What's the guy's name? The guy's voice. Help me out, Chad. Chad.
Evan.
No, the guy that's in Arrested Development. He plays Ian, Uncle Ian from the Chipmunks movie. Come on, help me out.
Oh God, Chad, come on.
It's right there. It's right on the tip of my tongue hole. But
help me, tell us. Okay, because now I want to know. It's not.
Fun fact. Gaming. We'll bring it back to
Bateman?
Gaming. No. It's the older brother, the one that's a never nude. Yes, my mom can be very angry sometimes. We'll ask that.
Console war heavy.
He also plays a character in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that owns the remote control shop. The chat's not Tobias from Arrested Development. Tobias, come on, Happy Mom might know this. Tobias, Arrested Development. Actor.
Okay, well, what's the actor? Yeah, Bateman. Woodpit says Bateman.
David Cross. It's David Cross. I found
David Cross. Oh,
David
okay.
Cross. I wouldn't remember that. I remember David. Now they've got it in the chat. You guys are amazing. But he's got a unique voice. But anyway, I don't know why. I've had some work done.
Now it's blowing up in chat, right? David Bateson, by the way, man, that's the voice of 47. No, David Bateson is the voice of 47 in the Hitman games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're just
I just had to externalize that. Hey. I just had to externalize it just to get it out of my headspace because ADD.
I want to take a moment to rub it in that Troy Baker is not Jason from Grand Theft Auto 6.
A big thing. That's a big ding dang thing, isn't it? He said, listen, it's not me, and I want whoever that is to get all the credit. So just so you know, it's not me, and I am excited to see that other person that's not me, his work of stuff.
His work of things.
His work of things, yeah.
Yodana Kizana, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. This is a great one in orange. It looks good. Looks good on him. So this is for Red Wolf's PC. Sub to his channel. His PC is sounding like the Fallout show's Michael. Wait, how do you say his Rappaport character? Oh yeah, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, that guy is in one of the Fallout episodes. Yeah.
My PC? Is my mic messed up?
No, everything sounds good. He just wants to make fun of your PC. Yeah, you sound pretty crisp and clear. I have a noise gate over there, and I have this electronic hum that I finally got rid of I didn't want to use it because it cut off your voice, but who cares? Terry says John Claude is from Brussels. Thank you for that. We had to figure that out along the way. I want to talk about the Star Wars Outlaws because the trailer blew up. The new trailer, everyone was watching. It got tons of views. It was trending on YouTube, and then apparently The thumbs up ratio and thumbs down ratio are not looking too hot. Are you outraged about A, the tiered purchasing system, and B, wait, this is B. A.
You're
A,
right.
I can't remember. No, it's not B. You know what? Whatever. Are you upset about the tiered purchasing system and or that the character girl doesn't look like her motion capture real life counterpart?
Yeah, women in video games have been a problem for. No, I'm kidding. The first thing. I'm totally kidding, guys. For people who don't know me, I'm kidding. I'm trying to behave myself. I know a lot of people that have an issue with early access. I guess I've had a new perspective on it lately because I don't pre-order like the ultimate super deluxe editions of games unless I'm like really, really excited for it. And I don't really pre-order that much to begin with. So the early access thing isn't like I'm never like that hyped about something unless it's like Starfield. And yes, I love Starfield by the way. Which I did, and Starfield had an early access. But it was only $10 extra. Okay, so I know we're splitting hairs here with price points.
Oh, it was only 10? I thought like 30 was around the norm.
I think it was like $10 extra if you had. So if you had Game Pass, you could spend $10 to get the game early access. You didn't own the game still. You just owned early access code, right? So you still didn't own the game, but $10, that was like the incentive. Now, the argument here is you give them an inch and they'll take a mile kind of thing. So you can't say that's not the exception here because $10 could be, again, now we're looking at $130 3-day early access or whatever. So I kind of understand the outrage. I mean, that's crazy. The thing is, it's Ubisoft and they've done this like for as long as I can remember. They've always had these gold editions of games that you're like, okay, well, when's the game actually releasing? And you're like, okay, standard edition. That comes out on the 17th. But if I get the gold edition, it comes out on the 14th, and people they're like, my friends are going to get it. Or, I'm going to feel that FOMO and I don't know. I don't like it, especially for the price point. But I would say if there was a standard, if we lived in a perfect world and early access was $10, that for me would be okay, but like I think Fawn said it best, like that's not early access. That is the release date of the game that you're paying extra.
Yeah, he did say that.
And that has like given me a totally different perspective, and I love that, and I agree with it. It's I've never thought about it like that before, and I'm like that's totally true. So it's really made me kind of rethink that whole process of being okay with early access, but we're not talking like months prior, and we're not talking hundreds of dollars. $10 I was okay with Starfield, and that's kind of been my only experience with early access. But this is pretty egregious, man. I don't know. Chat, how much do you hate me?
I mean, I'm not really bothered by early access, and I'm really with you where I'm going to try and multitask here. I'm with you where if I really want a game, maybe I want to pay early access, but usually I like to hang back, see where Metacritic's sitting, see what my favorite reviews look like, see what some of my friends who may be playing it are thinking. And that's just kind of how I do things. So I'm not really worried about it. There's a tiered system where the game can get super expensive. They're hiding a Jabba the Hutt mission behind the top $110 version, and that bothers people. That sort of bothers me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
content locking.
Yeah. Shoot. I'm trying to bring up something. Where did this go?
I keep talking if you're doing a thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that's kind of up for people's interpretation, but are you bugged about what people are saying about the way the character looked? Or are you or are you just like let people rant and do their thing and I don't know. How are you feeling about that? Because like
we had people. I just threw something across the room by accident. We had people complaining about Stellar Blade because she was too attractive. Right now, We had people complaining, and then we had Fable complaining about that she's not pretty enough. Now we have um, Star Wars Outlaws, where people are saying like, you almost got her, but you didn't do her justice because the real life version, her nose doesn't look like that, and her whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know what it is. It just sounds like a bunch of dudes being weird and complaining about women that they have never had a chance to touch with their hands, their physical
just
hands.
Complaining just to complain. It's
yeah, just being absolutely, because like I remember shout out to ACG in his podcast and his boys, even he was saying like, when Control came out, the character that plays Jessie, the main character, and I can't think of her name, but she's a real actress, and she does a lot of stuff, and she's awesome. The character, for the most part, it really looks just like her, but he was saying like her jaw was very like pronounced and very like masculine. And if you go and look at the character in comparison to what she looked like in the game, like there was a bit of liberty taken there. And I don't know what those reasons are. And I'm not saying like I'm not a developer, and I'm sure that like create face scanning and all that kind of stuff and being 100% accurate with faces can be pretty difficult. I would assume, but that's like as far as I've ever gone, being like it looks like them. Like whenever I first glanced at Jessie's character in Control, I was like, I know that actress. That's the chick from. But then whenever you compare the two, you're like,
it's Broad.
Sorry, lady, Broad, right? Sorry, that Broad. I'm kidding, but you know what I mean. Like I feel like people are just. This is never gonna go away, is what I'm saying. People just like to.
One developer, sorry, as I do this stuff in the background.
Yeah.
One developer was saying that sometimes it's the lighting and the models, like it's not exactly correct. And I've done my own custom versions of me, and it looks kind of like me, but maybe the jaw's too different. Like you can't get it right. So none of this stuff is perfect unless they do like a full 3D scan, and maybe they do. But I guess you have to let the developers do a little bit of creative license with how they want the character to look in the game. Maybe if she looks like a supermodel, it doesn't fit the rough and tumble the rogue character, or whatever you would call her character, right? Like the outlaw rogue. Maybe you just have to make her a little rough around the edges. I think people need to quit. They need to be really careful about insulting everybody who looks different in the world, I guess. Let me see if this is up on the screen.
Right.
I forgot to bring this up. I've got these a set of coins I want to give away on the show, and I'm so ticked off that I didn't do this earlier. We'll carry this into the show next week as well, because I've got a certain amount of coins. I'm going to give away 3 coins of the Hellblade 2 coins, and I will have my mods pick 3 winners, and so that I can contact you in the U.S., and I will send out the coins. You have to live in the U.S., and then I'm going to do 3 Fallout coins. I have more coins that I want to give away, but I want to do just 3 today since we're just getting started. Ben Kenobi created these coins. I don't have the Fallout one yet because it's finishing production. But if you'll wait a second, that should get into focus. This is the Hellblade 2 coin. Is it focused on your end there, Red?
I put my hands up and I made it happen. Look at that.
Okay. And then the back has the Xbox logo with like the hanging trees.
Oh,
It's just,
love that.
They are so nice. Like they're all 3D and textured. And if you could see the size, they're just so cool. And I've got them like in a row on my desk. They're so awesome. I would love for some of you who are in the chat, those of you here checking out our show and supporting it, to win these coins. They're just a small token of something, but like you can put them on the corner of one of your shelves in a place where you game or whatever. And they're just so, so cool. And I want to be able to give those out to you. Let's see. We'll try and give those out. And if we don't get the giveaways done by the end of the night, I will make sure that, I think he's sending me 15 of each. I'll make sure all 15 of each are given out on this podcast, because you guys are so amazing. We really appreciate you. We've covered a lot of stuff. My stance with the Star Wars Outlaws is I really hope the game is good. It looks like it gives you everything that you want in a Star Wars game. I don't care what the character looks like. You can have your gripes. Just be so careful about how you do it, because, these are people make these games. These are people that are portrayed in the games that do the motion capture, and we just want the games to be good. I did have in the topic list to talk about Fable. There isn't a lot to talk about with Fable. I'm really super confident that we're going to get a release window at the June showcase, another look at what the game looks like, maybe what that world looks like that we haven't been shown. But Jez Corden has said some positive stuff about how he feels really confident that Fable is ready to be like, for us to see it and for it to come out next year. Maybe Fable's a mid 2025, maybe it's late 2025. I think it's probably time. The developers have started to lay off some people, or some people have left to go work in other places as they finish like their segments. They're still hiring people. So I don't know. Red, you think that we've waited long enough for Fable?
Yeah, especially since we saw all that all that gameplay with that trailer, which we didn't know was gameplay. Remember that? That I can't tell you how many times I went back and played that at 2.25 speed to see that haymaker fireball, and I was like, that was gameplay. That really was gameplay. And I watched it so many times, like, dude, that's I didn't see that. I thought it was a cutscene too. And anyway, yeah, I think we've waited long enough. I mean, and I'm saying that like as a fan, like I feel like I have waited long enough. I want to like see the game. I really want to like get an idea of what it's gonna be like. Is it gonna be big zones? Is it going to be really open world like Dragon's Dogma?
Yeah.
What's it going to be like? Because we know Fable as like this very whimsical type medieval fantasy RPG with a lot of charm to it, and we got a lot of that with the trailer. So I'm curious to see how it's evolved over since 2008 or 7 or whenever the first one
11,
came out.
2010. It came in like the same, like it's in a 2-week window with Fallout New Vegas. They came out like in the same month.
I swore it came out like 2007, but okay, yeah. So
for Fable 3, Fable 3 was.
Oh, 3. Okay, yeah.
So
I'm just talking about just Fable. Right. But I'm curious to see like what liberties they've taken with it, because again, there's no legacy characters except for like history and stuff like that. So is it going to be an Albion? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be what's the combat going to be like? Is it going to be like I keep comparing everything to Dragon's Dogma, but you know what I mean? I'm hoping that at the June showcase we at least get you know how they don't say a release date, but they give us a window, like you said. So
we get to see like predict. It'll say 2025 probably in the trailer, I would assume.
Right, coming 2025. Fall in the afternoon on a summer's day or whatever. That doesn't make sense, but
playing ESO and walking around. What's the name of is it Daggerfall? There's a place that's very like Fable-like. You were telling me. We were playing in co-op the other day, and I was in this area that has a lot of those European-style buildings, or kind of that Bavarian architecture that you see in Fable. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, plus Avowed's coming. Like, Avowed's coming this holiday, and I just want to throw out the powers. I want to use the axe. Like, I want to like use all the combat combinations, and I'm like getting into that zone to like do the fantasy RPG thing again. So, yeah.
Fable, I'm really excited to see what they do with it. And I'm hoping that they don't like Fable always did. It's like Fallout as far as like the comedy, like the humor balance with the seriousness, because there was like a lot of stuff in Fable that would have been delivered much better in like nowadays technology, as far as like what's happening narratively with your character and the family thing. For anyone who hasn't played Fable, I don't want to spoil it, but seriously, with what happens in the beginning of the game and all that kind of stuff, because it was like awful. You're like, that's actually really sad, but then it still has that whimsical like like background,
the juxtaposition backdrop. Like we like with Fallout. Yeah,
like with Fallout. So I'm hoping that they find a good balance there and not just make it all silly and dumb, which I don't think that they will, because they know, because things get really serious in Fable, and they do drop that silliness whenever
And
stuff
three,
starts happening.
you can starve your community to bolster up other things, like not just to be mean. Like you have to make tough decisions in Fable 3, even though it's not the most loved. I mean, people are like, I trust Playground Games. They've never made anything like this, but we know they brought on people from The Witcher, from Red Dead, from Rockstar. For Red Dead, they brought in some people from Sony Santa Monica. So, one person doesn't make the game. I hope that all these people come together and could create something fantastic. Boner Jams, thank you so much for the $10 super chest this evening. Colt Winwood and Red Dog, love the beard. Where is Megalodon tonight? He's out of town. He says, love the show. Colt with a K. He says, hugs and kisses. We appreciate him. He's from the Under the Bus podcast. They run a podcast on Wednesday evening that talks about music, guitars, everything in the music scene. So check that sucker out. I'm going to drop in there tomorrow and send a little donation love back to those guys as well. So I don't know. I hope great things for Fable. So I have to correct. I have 5 coins to give away for Fallout. So I'll try and give away a couple of those today and then the rest next week. But I have, what's the number? Let me look. Where is that? Where is it? I have 10 Hellblade coins and 5 Fallout total. So if you're in the US, I don't know how we'll be able to vet that out because I'm new to this with the giveaway thing, like live on the chat. We'll do the best we can. Please bear with us. We'll make sure that we have chances next week as well because these coins are really cool. And Ben just wants people to be able to get a hold of these things and be participating in what they do for fan art. So we will take care of that. Also, we may have to push the some of the giveaways into the comment section after the podcast goes up, but we will take care of it and I'll help make sure that gets done. But shout out to Pushing Polygons in the chat who has been messaging me. We've been talking back and forth about the business and everything, and we appreciate his support he's done over the year. And that's pretty much most of the news, Red. I appreciate you being here. I hope you had an okay time. My chat's like they're pretty good group to hang out with.
I was expecting like some people to be like, screaming, take it off with my hat or whatever. But no, yeah, you guys are great. Thank you guys so much for the support. It really means a lot. And I always say this whenever I get a chance on my show or just whenever I get to guest on another podcast, that the community is just amazing. And I really mean everyone. Like, yes, you right now. You're like, me? Yes, you, literally. It's really humbling to see so many people come together and just be such a positive outlet for a lot of us that just come on here and just put ourselves out there and whatnot. And it's just so cool to it's been really cool to meet True 77. I'm not yet. Not until I hit 1,000 subs on my channel. I will take my hat off then. I've said that. But it's been a really positive outlet for a lot of us, and so we always look forward to it each and every week, and it just means a lot. So thank you guys for accepting me. Really, really appreciate that. Ted Wolf, yes.
Ted Wolf,
thank you.
Yeah, I know it could be different to have normally you can have a guest on your show, and for me to bring in Red, hey, here's Red, welcome to the show, but. Something happened about a year and a half ago. I have this Ecstasy podcast club where we get on party chat once in a while. And Red was one of those guys that I just kept laughing at the stupid crap he would say. And we just got along. So I've been able to be on his show, which has been really fun. And this community with all the podcasts that go on, it's been like a web of goodness. An outstanding community.
Amazing. Web of fantastic positivity.
Yeah. So sorry, I was supposed to be ready to do the coin giveaway today, and I literally got home half an hour before the show went up, so I barely got the show up. I apologize. Usually I spend part of the day getting everything ready, but we're giving away 3 Hellblade coins today, 3 Fallout coins. So I'm sorry. I kind of kept changing it. I wanted to make sure I got that out there, but we will pick 3 winners of each, and it will be the luck of your draw if you win a Fallout one or a Hellblade one. But You can't lose because the coins are so cool. I don't even have the Fallout one yet. Like, they're on their way soon to do for the giveaway. They'll be shipping out. It's a cool process, and we got a lot of people who are helping make that happen. All right, I hope I got that. Happy Bomb put Red's channel in the chat if you want to subscribe to his channel and his podcast, because he does videos about games. He covered Mass Effect 4 and what could be recently on his channel. What was the other video you did after that?
I did Battlefront 2, and that was great, amazing. And then I did Dragon's Dogma 2, which was fantastic.
That was the
for
one.
Me when I played.
I told the
totally
chat
bombed. I was like,
your Dragon's Dogma 2 video was one of 2 videos that got me to buy the game. I wasn't even interested. You and Gaz really won me over with your content. So really good content. And he's pretty candid in the videos, you know. He's not like, "Hi, welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about Dragon's Dogma."
Welcome. I'm going to talk about a game that I'm so excited for. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Pigeons. Getting tired of legends? Now we've got pigeons. Lots of them with lots of shadows.
Pit your favorite pigeons against other pigeons online. Have them pet
Hit
each
the
other
blue
to
ones. Blue ones for extra points. 10 points for the blue ones. Subscribe and like me. Yeah, that's what my videos are like. Yeah.
All right, looks like we got Hellblade 2 coin winners are at Yodona Kizada, at Ice Cold, and at Dead Time. All right, you can email me, and I know it sounds petty, but please have some sort of proof that it's you, because so far so good. I don't know. What do I know? I'm not the lottery. I don't know how to do these things properly, but we will get it figured out. You guys are amazing. We really appreciate you. Yeah. So I think that's it, Red.
That's it.
Let's play some Fallout this week, or let's do something.
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. I am going to thank you so much, chat. I see you guys saying you enjoyed the show. It means a lot. Every time I turn on the light, I'm like, oh, please let me not sucketh. Let me have a good show and let people enjoy it. And hopefully we're entertaining and informative and liars. Hopefully that's all those things happen. Red, I appreciate you, bro. Let's chat soon, and hit the like button on your way out, and go watch my video about ESO. It's probably not something a lot of people watch, but if you're kind of on the fence, give that video like 2 minutes. You'll watch the whole thing because it's got cool clips. I record some really nice looking stuff. Yeah, did you watch it?
Yep.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm
check
in the
it
video,
out.
by the way. So
you are. You're in there going, blowing fire.
Yeah, just breathing fire. Right, exactly. It's so cool. As soon as I saw that part, I was like, oh, I remember that, because it was because
we both had the same power, so we were like, barbecue.
Right, exactly. It's like chicken, hot dogs, marshmallow. It was so great.
Hot wings. Yeah.
Oh man, I am so good. Sappho says, drop a link, Red. The link, it's just Red Wolf Renegade on YouTube. You can't miss me.
Yesterday when I was talking to Red, I'm like, hey, do you think you could do my show tomorrow? It'd be awesome. We can hang out. And you're like, oh, I got really bad heartburn. Let me get a Tums. And you go into the phone. And I was like, what the heck are you doing?
I was like, yeah, so I think I can probably make it.
I pictured you like with the Tums, and you're like, flipping them up like Pez.
Trying to I was trying to because I had to get the generic kind. I wasn't like done. You pop the lid on the Tums thing. It was like you got to unwrap the paper, and then you
like
got to grab one. It's like
the Mentos guy. You're like the Coke bottle and the Mentos. Someone's gonna clip that.
Literally, that's exactly what it was like. I had such bad heartburn. I was just so excited. It was just welling up within me.
Here's your acid right here, and then you're like, hey, Red, can you do my show?
That's exactly where I was like, give me a minute. Yeah, like, am I excited for Dreadwolf? Exactly. I am excited for Dreadwolf. I actually am going to make a video about that, and it's in my name, Dreadwolf. It's so good. Sorry, I'm taking over your chat.
You're just going to cross out the D and go, your game belongs to me. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yes. Red, you did a great job tonight, and I had a good time.
You.
If I had a good time, hopefully you guys had a good time. Hit the like button. Hey, I'm crossing my fingers for those coins for you guys. They're so cool. We'll keep them up, and if the coins do well, people are loving them. I'll see if I can do some more to support Ben Kenobi and those cool coins because they're fun time. We appreciate it. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for checking out the show after the fact. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other places where you can check out the show in your car and while you mow the lawn. Have a good day, guys. We're out of here. Red, see you, bro.